Omashar, in 3 seconds, you can start the video.
What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. I am your host, Love Coach Scott Katamas, and welcome to the Awakening World. This is our Wednesday night edition. We're really enjoying now having a midweek show, and a lot of our friends and fans have really appreciated that. And speaking of friends and fans, big welcome to all of our friends in the Zoom room. And I want to also thank those of you that are watching on Alan Steinfeld's YouTube channel or our own YouTube channel, or maybe you're watching on the Conscious Awakening Network, and most of you are watching on Facebook. A big thanks to John and Summer Raymer. They run the Sign Network, which gets us out to over 100 Facebook groups and pages. So thank you, John and Summer. Now listen, if you're watching in one of those other ways, that's wonderful and enjoy the show, but I'd like to invite you to join the Global Peace Tribe. And it's really easy to do that. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com. globalpeacetribe.com. You'll see our website and you'll see what says register for the new season. Click that. And what happens is when you click it, it'll take you to our registration page. We do 3 or 4 shows every week. And they're all like tonight's, filled with inspiration, amazing guests, live music. So for example, tonight, whoops, this is last week's show. Well, now you can see what we did last week. I see my webmaster didn't update it. Last week, we did Awakening through plant medicine and microdosing. On Saturday night, we did a beautiful show about 6 global agreements for the Weevolution. And on Sunday, we had a community conversation. So there's an example of the kinds of things that you'll get when you join the Global Peace Tribe. But tonight, what you're seeing is going to be really, really fun because we do a lot of partnering. We collaborate with the Evolutionary Leaders Network. We collaborate with Soul Search. And tonight, we're starting a brand new partnership, a collaboration with Unite.love. But before we go there, I am going to put the spotlight on my co-host, Trish. Hey, hi, Trish.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. It's a Wednesday night and we get to all hang out together.
And we get to have Trish back. That's one of the reasons we moved to Wednesday nights, because she said, Wednesday nights I can do. So, well, Trish, you haven't met these people yet, but I'm going to bring on board Shine and his wonderful partner. And they are who created Unite.love. Welcome, you two. Hello, Crystal. Hello, Shine.
Thank you so much for having us tonight.
Thank you so much. So blessed to be here.
All right, so tell us about Unite.love. Who are you guys? What are you guys up to?
What is it? Well, for me, the start of it was that when I was, do you want the long story or the short story?
How about the 2 to 3 minute story?
Okay. So when I was growing up and seeing all these things in the world that I wanted to change and be a part of that change of helping everyone have food and peaceful places to live and all those nice things, I began seeing that the common denominator with all the things that were happening that weren't so nice was just people acting out of fear and anger and revenge and being in those negative emotions a bit longer. And I thought if somehow the world could learn the importance and the value of being in alignment with themselves and with their souls, and also learn better ways to get there for them, that the world would be a much better place. And so I began thinking from like a systems perspective, like, oh, how do we get the whole world to be happier and want to be happier, and then actually figure out how to do that for each individual person. And I thought, well, it's not going to be through like Tony Robbins or Deepak Chopra or Eckhart Tolle only. It'll be all of those people and everyone else. And so we began with this vision of like a united space for all the well-being resources, so that someone could come on and say, I'm having headaches, or I'm lonely, or I'm going through this, or I want this, I'm looking for my tribe, or whatever they're looking for. And they could just very quickly find the perfect personalized thing for them, whether it's something free, like a video or a post, or like a paid course or event or product or service. And so we sort of envisioned this. And it also came from running our events and feeling like, gosh, if Facebook or someone would just tell all the people who would love to come to our events and let them know, and then they could come and our events could sell out with ease, we would happily pay them a lot of percentage of that money, because it's most of the work, marketing. And so we thought, oh, if we could take the marketing work away for all these amazing wellness professionals and just connect people who are looking for them directly to them, then wow, like what a wonderful world that would be for both the businesses and the people, because there would just be more good stuff out there. So that's the idea. So we're an eco wellness social marketplace, kind of like Facebook meets Amazon for well-being.
Yeah, at unite.love, www.unite.love. So it's a new baby that's just been built since COVID.
Here it is.
There she is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can share your products and events on there right now, and we're going to get services up shortly. So
You
yeah,
can share your services as products right now.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, we want to build a spot that's free and ad-free for the community. So we really don't want you to be able to pay to be seen. You'll get seen if you're offering good, awesome stuff and the community agrees. So yeah, that's Unite.
And it's just a little baby that's starting to crawl. So feedback, welcome.
Yeah.
So, there's little bugs, but it's got some basics there. So
yeah,
that's it.
And this is the tiny beginning of the vision. We have so many more pieces we want to add to it. So yeah.
Oh, I love that so much. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
the marketing out of the hands of all these people. I mean, it's just, that's the most difficult part, I think. One of my best friends is an acupuncturist, and they taught her in acupuncture school, you have to have a hand for acupuncture and a hand for business. She was like, I want 2 hands for acupuncture.
Yeah.
Business part. Some of us don't have that way of. So.
Yeah, and everyone having to dilute their magic that they want to bring to the world, because they have to be a marketer and a copywriter and a photoshopper and learn about funnels. And in hosting our events, we always have a vendor market and do as much community building as possible. And everyone's like, I just need a one-stop shop. I need a place to go. And everyone's like, I want one stop where everyone knows where I am, like what Airbnb has done for the travel industry, where you can put your stuff, people can find your stuff, and then everyone gets to just actually do what they love in the world. And the marketers can still market. There'll always be marketing for them, but hopefully everyone doesn't have to wear 15 hats to be seen in the world. So
I sign up. Help me. Tell me who you have here that you've invited in and are.
Oh.
Yeah, we were told that we get to invite some people on, so we got to go shopping through our community. Ooh, who has some magic that they want to share and that we wanted to really spotlight and share with the community. So Shine, take it away.
So Deidra and I have known each other for 8 years, a little bit longer than I've known Crystal. And she is amazing, doing all sorts of turn your light on experiences around the world and lots of online stuff. And she's a coach, a speaker, an author, and lots more. Should I just go quickly through everyone? Is that the best right now?
And then we'll ask questions.
Then we'll go in deeper. And then Mike Reed is from SoundQuest. And when I saw his stuff popping up on my radar, I was like, oh, who is this very well branded, cool looking events guy? And he's actually in one of Deidra's masterminds, learning how to do this new course all about how to market your sound healing and package your sound healing business so that you can make a living at it like he's been able to do. And I think he came from a real estate background, which is super cool. And then Nick Bro is an amazing soul. He my friend Jen Graneman is in his program and told me all about him. And he's basically created this Abraham Hicks inspired community group where he goes live very often, I think many times a week, and he'll do hot seats and talk to people, and his wife also channels kind of like Abraham. And then he's got teacher training for his specific modality on how to get into alignment and clean up some of those negative vibrations, and I'm sure other things. And I think he's got a tech background and is, from my perspective, is a brilliant businessman. He's created a really interesting model that is super inspiring, and I'm really inspired by him. And then Tad Hargrave, I've known the longest of anyone here, I think, on a human level, of course, soul-wise, who knows. And Tad is the founder of Marketing for Hippies, and I went to his workshop years and years ago. He does pay what you can or what you want for, I think, all of his stuff, and has since very early on, I think inspired by, you'll remind me. And yeah, he's all about helping people find those amazing connectors in their community and in their niche to help bring their message out, and really like collaborative marketing and value added marketing and lots of cool stuff. And that's the basics.
Well, since we've got him on, I got to say, I was just intrigued by his website, Marketing for Hippies. And I'm proud to be a hippie. So let's just stay with Tad for a minute. Tad, tell us about what you're doing.
I help hippies figure out how to market their stuff better.
You can go ahead and have your sip of tea or coffee or hallucinogenic drugs or whatever is inside the cup.
Yeah, so that's my deal. I work with a lot of life coaches or holistic practitioners, permaculture folks who just hate marketing, but they, as we've heard, they know they need to do it, but they don't want to do it, and often feel torn between, I either do a kind of marketing that works, but I can't sleep at night, or it doesn't work at all, but I get to sleep well and I feel vaguely morally superior to other people. So it's just like, do I pay the bills or do I have a conscience about it? And of course, what I'm suggesting is we don't have to choose. We can do both. And in fact, they work better when we don't have to choose between ethics and effectiveness, I suppose, is my main idea.
I'm noticing on your Facebook page, 3 thoughts on ethical marketing. And I'd love for you to share those 3 thoughts, because I think they're really beautiful.
What were they? I can't remember. What did I say? Okay. This is a recent one. This was just a post that went up. Yeah, so those are things I do from time to time. And well, that first one jumped out, this idea that if we don't sell them, we're hurting them. Because I've heard this so much from the business coaches, and sadly even some of the conscious business coaches, that, well, you have something that's worthwhile, yes, and it could help people, yeah, correct. Well, then if those people don't get a solution, then they're going to continue to suffer, and you wouldn't want people to suffer. So if you don't somehow convince them, strong arm them, bully, harass them into saying yes, you have hurt them in some way. And at the heart of what I understand of ethical marketing is this shift from the hidden agenda to get the sale and to justify it with things like that, versus the overt agenda to just get to the truth of, is it a fit or not? Because things either are a fit or they aren't. And if we have our agenda on the truth, then the conversation is going to not only be more effective in discerning whether it's a good fit, but it's also going to feel better to everybody involved. I think of it like, if there's an archer, if you want to win the trophy at an archery contest, you have to have your eye on the bullseye. Because if you're looking at the trophy and trying to hit the bullseye, you miss the target completely and no trophy for you. And so the target to me is the truth. That's what we focus on in marketing. And again, the truth of that, it's a very specific question, just is it a fit or not? And that's where marketing starts and ends for me.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, well, let's get to know Deidra. Tell us a little bit about the wonderful work that you're doing.
Wow, well, thanks so much for having me. So about 5 to 7 years ago, I had this vision of looking down at the world, and I didn't know what it meant at the time. But in that vision, I was in the universe and I was reaching down to the earth and I was turning people's lights on. And in that moment, I knew that that was my life's work, is to wake people up to the truth of who they are and who they're meant to be. And then also support planetary leaders, up and coming leaders who are here to lead humanity from a space of truth, alignment, authenticity, and community and connection, and true spirituality, not false spirituality, which is the trend of a lot of illusions, and really help them make a bigger impact. And so that's what I do. I help wake people up to who they are, their true identity, because when we're not in our true identity, we continue to go towards illusion. We end up sick, dis-ease, and we create chaos in our lives. And so when we end the war within ourselves, we end the war outside of ourselves. And when we end the war inside of ourselves and we step into truth, we're able to create the change that we want to see in the world. So there's two main pieces: the piece around waking up and healing and turning our light on. I have a book on this, and there's 4 stages around turning your light on in a program. And then there's the actualization of our gifts into the world, which is, I feel, is our obligation. It sounds kind of
so we're going to be doing this next week. Anyways.
Everybody, please mute whoever it is.
And so then there's the obligation and from a space of responsibility of what we're here to do in the world with, once we've stepped into our truth, our true identity, we've dissolved many parts of the ego, which is who we think we are, who we think we should be, past trauma, past programming, the things that have got us to a certain point but aren't going to take us to the next level, and then surrendering to spirit, surrendering to our higher power and serving. And so that second level is about helping people create authentic, aligned businesses that can be global, that are impact driven to support people, rather than it just being from a space of wealth. Like, let me get more. It's like, no, like, let me serve more and let me do what I'm here to do and help other people do the same. And so those are the two main things that I get fired up about and I love doing.
Beautiful. Well, I see, of course, that one of your websites is radicallyaligned.com.
Mm-hmm.
How do you personally get radically aligned? What does that mean to you? And how do you do it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So there's 3 pillars that I teach in my programs, and is like the foundation of everything that I do. And it's there's 3 pillars, and then there's 3 steps for transformation. So the first part, let's talk about the 3 steps for transformation. You can use this in your relationships, business, anywhere. And the first step is radical honesty. When we have radical honesty with ourselves, we have freedom. The next piece is having courage. It's very challenging sometimes to look at the things in our life that we've created or around us that aren't working, but we have to have courage to do that. And then the third piece is ripping off the Band-Aid and doing the thing, answering the call. So the first piece about being in radical alignment is, if something's not working in my life, where I'm feeling resistant, I'm feeling, contracted, I'm not feeling the way that I want to feel, or something's not working, I go back to those 3 simple steps. Where am I potentially not being honest with myself? Am I trying to make something happen that isn't quite it? Where do I need to have a little bit of courage to look at something that's uncomfortable, maybe within myself, as far as my belief systems that I've outdated, my environment, or how I'm perceiving something? And then what is an action that I need to take to shift that? And whenever I do that in relationships, business, anything, there's a shift. But then as far as like radical alignment, like the brand, and also all of the pillars that are connected, it's about truth, which is awakening to the truth of who I am and healing. The second piece is love, living and leading from the heart. Am I living and leading from the heart right now? And then the third one is, am I on purpose? Am I actually on purpose? Or am I doing something because I think I should? Or it's a default setting that I'm naturally doing it, but it's not actually on purpose. So when I have the truth, I'm operating and living from the heart, and I'm on purpose, I step into radical alignment. And there's a ton of different processes, but to simplify it, that would be it. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I
Love
really
it, honey.
Love you, Deidra. Good
Yeah.
job.
Love you guys.
Well, we've got Nick and Tad. I'll turn it over to Trish to check in with them.
Well, I just want to know what lights them up. Like, I mean, here's a group of people who are really focused on the unification of, well, the globe and all the people in it. What lights you up? What's it for you? What's the juice?
Do you want to go ahead, Mike, or am I on board here?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, for me, it's just simply following my highest excitement, right? It's following the impulse in whatever moment I find myself in, and allowing myself to follow that impulse.
What does that look like?
That's up to source.
Oh, yeah.
So right now it's a lot of online stuff, online courses, online teaching. The last 2 years has been training facilitators. I think the path and the journey evolves as we evolve.
Of course. What do you train? And what kind of facilitators do you train? I'm really going to pull it out of you.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, I launched my facilitator training. That ran for about 2 years. I would say there's a little over 200 facilitators in 25 countries that have been through that training. At the end of 2021, I felt the call to slow down. So I basically shut everything off. I kept running and maintaining my membership programs, but turned off all marketing, all promotion, and just spent the year kind of slowing down and going within, focusing on my growth, which is something I hadn't done for about 10 years. And at the beginning of January, basically just relaunching my new programs in a much more, I shouldn't say more aligned, but more aligned with who I've become kind of way.
I love that.
Incredibly important that the teachers taking time to really continue their personal work.
Yeah, and I mean, we're always evolving, right? And, sometimes it's easy to make business a priority over, ourselves. And for me, part of the challenge in slowing down was slowing down a 7-figure business to a point where, everything was shut down. And, the ego mind says, that's crazy. What are you doing? Like, you're making all this money, but if something's not aligned with you, it's you have to follow what's going on in here. And for me, I've been lucky that I've always had a very strong sense of inner guidance, and I've always had the courage to follow that inner guidance. And part of what I teach is, of course, helping people learn to tune into that and follow that despite what the inner critic is trying to tell them to do.
All that living in integrity is when your thoughts, your beliefs, your thoughts, your words, and your actions are in alignment.
I love that.
It's interesting too that you follow right after Deidra, who's all about radical alignment. So a theme is emerging here. Yeah.
And one of my big inspirations with Unite as well, and one of the reasons I felt the call to really start something new versus join another team or just let someone else do it, is I want to see what it's like to build a giant company that's the size of Google or Facebook from that perspective of like, how can you get tens of thousands or however many people are going to work at Unite to all be in that space or as much as possible. So I'm really excited for the road ahead, and thank you for everyone for the work you're doing. Love you very much.
We haven't heard yet from one last person, so let's bring up Mike Reed.
How are you?
Hey, Mike, tell us about what you're doing.
Yeah, so for the last several years now, I've been running these sound bath events all over British Columbia where I live. And it all started from my own healing journey. And because I have a musical background, I really understood sound healing kind of right off the bat when I first experienced it. And so I was very inspired to just go down the rabbit hole and explore it and figure out how it all works. And I started acquiring these sound healing tools and instruments and started working with people one on one. And then started going out into the world and doing public events, and partnering with places like yoga studios. And I've just been all over the place, all over the map for the last few years, just running these events kind of on a circuit. And they've been becoming quite popular. And now I'm developing an online academy to train other people around the world to become sound healers themselves and also create a thriving business from doing sound healing. So we're creating Sound Quest Academy. It's in the birthing stage. So we're really excited. And Deidra actually helping me with all this. So yeah, it's exciting times.
Beautiful. And since we're on the theme of alignment, how do you kind of come into alignment, and how does sound healing relate to coming into alignment?
Yeah, absolutely. It's totally aligned with like who I am at the core. And it feels like I'm really doing something of service. It doesn't feel like just a job to me. It feels like I'm genuinely helping people. I see people after these sessions and they're all glowed up and they're all shiny, and they're thanking me and telling me about how wonderful the experience was, and that feels really good and it feels really aligned. And I just want to spread this around the world. I want to teach other people around the world, so it can go beyond just me and it can help more people help more people. So I think when you're in alignment with expansion and genuinely benefiting people and giving people value, that feels in alignment. That feels like you're in a natural flow when you're coming from that place.
Love it.
So good.
Good job, Mike.
Well, bring everybody. So I think we have a whole Canadian thing going on tonight.
Yes.
Eleanor Joy asked who, is anybody here from Canada? I think, are all of you from Canada?
Yeah.
Wow. I see that I saw that Maureen is in the house.
Yes.
She's, of course, Canadian. And Charlotte is in the house. So although her cameras are on, Charlotte and Jennifer, they are Canadian. And Eleanor Joy is Canadian. So all hail our Canadian friends.
Yes.
What?
And a lot of our Unite community is starting, because we are here, that's where we're starting. So anyone in the Lower Mainland, BC, connect, and we're happy to connect you. And we'd love to hear from everyone in Canada. Please reach out, because we do have lots of groups in different cities to connect as well. Nothing against all you lovely Americans. It's just, this is where we are. We love you all too. We moved really close. We're 5 minutes from the border now. So we're like almost there.
In Montana, can I just be like gifted in? Like
Yes.
I go 50 miles from the border, like I can just
Yes.
be.
Come over anytime.
100%. Yeah, we'll do a road trip.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll meet you in Glacier Park.
There you go.
Oh, I love it. That's amazing. Yeah.
Now, speaking of road trips, you've got a big event going on February 16th. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. I hope you can come. So our background is in events, and I was telling the group, Deidra actually spoke at our very first big event, and it was her first speaking engagement, and we decided just to like launch this crazy big 650 seat theater TED Talk style event with absolutely no experience or idea what we were doing, and pulled it off. And since then we've run over 100 and probably 20 live events, and one that we really felt excited about was this full day mini festival at this church that can hold about 350 people. And so we're doing from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. We've got different yoga and sound healing and cacao ceremony
and Deidra,
breathwork.
Yeah.
Deidra, turn your light on. Abraham Hicks inspired meditation alignment practice.
Yeah.
And then we've got speed healing, which is 30 different practitioners or so, all doing 10-minute sessions, and then sound healing in the background and a sound bath going on. And so everyone can kind of, it's a wonderful vortex that happens when you have one big room with all these healers practicing at the same time, and then people get to just taste different healing modalities.
It's like a buffet. Creates a really safe environment where you can try different modalities that maybe you're unsure about or you're interested in, and also you're because you're in public in a big room. It doesn't feel so intimidating to go try something new. So people can they sign up and they go from session to session and create a really deep experience. And for us, we love all the offerings, but we also make sure that our favorite thing, and most people, what they really love about the events is we always have lots of vendor time, social time, connection time. So in between all the offerings, there's lots of time to connect and hang out. And people tell us later, I met my husband, my wife, my business partner. So yeah, for us, it's really, it's trying to create that kind of festival experience where you come for the vibe and then you just get exposed to all kinds of wonderful things as well. So yeah, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
There it is.
I put the details into the Zoom room, but for those of you watching on Facebook or one of the other broadcast partners, if you go to unite.love, it's right there, and you'll see the poster and you'll see the information about it. And I am probably going to drive up for that because it works out well. It's the same. A couple of days later, Stephen, my good friend Stephen with Relation Flex, is doing his big event in Victoria. How close are you guys to Victoria?
Just a hop, skip, and a jump.
Across the ocean,
Ferry
but not a very, I think it's about a 2-hour ferry ride and a
3-hour journey in total.
Yeah, it's not far.
And now I got a question for you, Sean. Are you really serious that you would want to be running an organization the size of Google? Or
Bigger. Yeah, 100%. It's the only thing I want to do. I don't know. I know why. It just feels like my whole life I've been really, really passionate about how can I make the biggest impact with my own life and what can I do. And I went through a beautiful songwriting phase and thought maybe I could do music. I went through a beautiful coaching phase where I thought, I could be a healer or a coach. And this Unite vision has really come to me and solidified. And when I meditate and really tune into my source and just let go and surrender, this is what wants to come through. And I was actually driving down to California in our brand new Tesla in 2019 and just tuning in and flowing. And I just heard this voice very clearly say, you're building something that's going to be bigger than any company around today, right? And I was like, nope, I don't know that. And I thought we were going to do something big, but not crazy big. Like I was thinking like, Airbnb size, like something sort of in the middle.
Only Airbnb size. Well,
right. Yeah. Like and I thought that was a big vision. And so I sort of got shown this vision of us being able to facilitate work in the future where people can have profiles of what they do and what skills they have, and companies and projects can hire them, and people could be working for multiple different projects. And basically, if you were to rebuild social media and marketplaces from the ground up, I think you'd do them very differently. You wouldn't want to have all these ads that are sort of guessing at to what you might want based on Google searches and whatever. You would want a very personalized, specific way of knowing exactly what someone wants, or them telling you what they want, and having that trusted relationship where they really want to tell you what they want because they want to find what they want. They're not trying to like, I hope Google doesn't hear me because I don't want to get a bunch of ads for this thing or whatever. They're like, I'm looking for this specific thing. And instead of having to research, in 20 different places and spending hours trying to find the right eco-friendly furniture or whatever you're looking for, what if you could just find it so quickly? And with AI advancements and all this stuff, I think it's gonna happen. So I see Unite starting off with everything focused more around well-being and community. And I think the whole world is headed in that direction. The whole world is going to be in what, the wellness option, the sustainable option. And so we're building that foundation. And so I think in however many years, people are going to say, how do I find the most healthy, sustainable version of this, oh, just go to Unite. It's all right there, and it's so simple, and it'll be so much better for businesses because they don't have to learn about all these different platforms and advertising. So much better for the customers because they don't have to research everywhere. They can just find it based on all these things like ratings and reviews and taste profiles. So I think it's going to go good.
Actually, the Unite, the platform is just one corner of what Unite is going to be. If you've noticed our logo with the triangle with the 3 points, we have a 3-tiered business plan, which is events, spaces, and technology. So technology is, of course, the Unite platform, the events we're doing, and our third cornerstone of what we see humanity needs is the spaces. So that's the eco villages, the eco towers, city centers. So yeah, Unite's just the beginning. The Unite platform's the beginning, and the getting into real estate and the communities living together, for me, that's the technology is the foundation, and that's going to help us connect with other people who want to build these projects. It's going to help us prove that wellness and sustainability is a huge call, and that's going to bring in the investors that want to help us change the landscape of cities and build eco towers in the city and build eco villages in the rural places. And yeah, that's the dream. So yeah, the technology is the beginning, the foundation for us.
Yeah. And remembering that the core and the foundation of it is, how can we help each individual that wants to find that next path of least resistance step that helps them feel a little bit better, that helps them find the thing that they're looking for, whether, to just help them feel a little bit happier and more solid. And that's the foundation. So whatever supports that, of people being happier and healthier in themselves, that's the only thing that's really the North Star.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Just that.
It's changing the way that we all work. So if you want to change the capitalistic system into something different, then you've got to let people and show people how to live and love through their unique special gifts. So if we all can really foster each other's light in the world. What my light is and what I love to do is this one very specific thing, as some of you know, I'm a certified sex coach, and that's what I love to do, is I love to help people really boost their relationships in the world. And what Tad does and what you do, and we're all in this collective cell growing and evolving together. I like to call those universally beneficial relationships. And I am super stoked that there's so many people here who are really wanting to unite.
Well, I'm definitely going to want to hear more from Nick and Deidra and Mike and Tad, but we also have our beloved So we're about halfway through.
We are almost halfway through. And what a beautiful refreshing.
We're getting it.
So what a beautiful, refreshing conversation. Holy smoke, what amazing, beautiful people I've just felt the vibe from. And I really liked what Mike said about people being all glowed up. But to see that Shine and Crystal have this amazing, amazing vision. And I say, yes, it's already happened. It is already here. And it's just a matter of just being patient and being true. And everybody who's spoken so far is just right there in the center. What a concept. And so I'm going to play this song called Contemplate. Why not? And let's change this.
We can't hear you. We heard you until you changed the setting.
Okay, there we go. You got it? Turning to the face of those who need the light of truth to help them turn the other cheek and turn around. Lift each other up into the highest point of view so that together we can move to higher ground. Contemplating everything I knew, seems as though there's not much left that I would hold on to. Contemplating what is pure and true, and moon and stars and light and earth and water too. We are rising, soaring, flying, living life so free. We are flowing, changing, growing, loving all we see. Glad to know we're coming home again. Open hearts and open minds and open doors and loving friends. Look at the ones who's standing by you now. Destiny is in our hands, so leave the density behind. We are rising, soaring, flying, living life so free. We are flowing, changing, growing, loving all we see. Turning to the face of those who need the light of truth to help them turn the other cheek and turn around. Lift each other up into the highest point of view so that together we can move to higher ground. Contemplating everything I knew. Seems as though there's not much left that I would hold on to. Contemplating what is pure and true. Sun and moon and stars and light and earth and water too. We are rising, soaring, flying, living life so free. We are flowing, changing, growing, loving all we see. One more time. Turning to the face of those who need the light of truth to help them turn the other cheek and turn around. Lift each other up into the highest point of view so that together we can move to higher ground. Contemplating everything I knew. Seems as though there's not much left that I would hold on to.
Let's go to gallery view and I'll give some twinkles and some love to Omashar.
Twinkles and love, I like that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, brother. That was a great one. I love that song.
Yeah, me too.
And a reminder, everybody, you can support Omashar by going to omashar.bandcamp.com, getting his albums. How are we doing on filling that space there, Omashar? How's it coming along?
It's coming along, but you know, you write a song and you have the vision, and sometimes polishing it can take 20, 40, 50, 60, 80, 100 hours. And so the last song I'm on song 1 of my new album, which is called Lightness of Being. I have all the songs tracked out, but it took me almost 60 hours last week to polish off one song. And so this is with my own home studio. So it's coming along. Long answer to a short question. Thank you.
Thank you, Omashar. And he's going to come back and we'll do a closing Omashar song tonight.
Thank you, brother.
We have a question from Sylvia, and I guess we'll start with see what Shine and Crystal have to say about it, but if any of our other guests, definitely want to hear from everybody else. Sylvia asks, and also, what about systems change, ? Focusing on planetary wellness, interacting, communicating with supporting a myriad of beings and thriving. It sounds like that's what Unite Love is all about.
Yeah. I think what's really interesting to me is being a bridge between the mainstream and what some might call the alternative, And I learned this firsthand, where my mom was really, really depressed after my father passed away when I was 15. And she was a PhD psychologist, had money, had connections. And what really helped her was this process called the journey, where she went in and healed a memory from the womb and processed that traumatic event. And when she did, it was a few sessions, a few 2-hour sessions, I think 3 sessions. And she said that she's never felt depressed since. She's now teaching this work, and it's completely transformed her. So something that was sort of woo-woo and out there and different actually helped her versus all the mainstream options that were right there. And so I really want to be that bridge where we can have research and studies and mainstream options, as well as alternative options and anything that helps people all in one place, and then have ways to really sort through it. So I definitely see there of course there's a better way to help people find the best path for them. And I think it's both. It's not one or the other.
Yeah, we really kind of based Unite on being that bridge, uniting people, but also connecting both the kind of the seekers and the people having offerings. And what we found consistently across the board is, of course, there are amazing new innovations and technologies always coming down the line to support us living more optimal lives and being gentler on the planet. And what we really find is the only people who are hurting the planet, hurting themselves or each other, are the disconnected ones. So when we get to unite with each other, unite with ourselves, of course, as well, then everyone cares much more about our environment. And in fact, it really, that becomes the focus, because it's such a huge part of us, where we live and how we live. But if we're hurting inside, and if we're in dysfunctional relationships, if we're working jobs we hate, those things are going to really stop us from being good humanitarian stewards as well. So doing the inner alignment piece and then the connecting with others piece, from there we can do anything. So that's our philosophy.
Beautiful. I'm putting Deidra on, and Deidra, I was just looking at your website, and I saw that you offer a simple practice for managing overwhelm. And I know that there are many people, including myself, that deal with overwhelm. So would you be willing to share your practice for that?
Okay, absolutely. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do. But the main thing is, the biggest reason, the most common reason why we have overwhelm is because we're not present. We're not fully choosing the moment that we're in. And as a result, we're distracting, we're getting caught up in the noise, right? The distraction of our phone, opportunities, what should I be doing, all of that. So a really simple practice to come into alignment in this moment, and this is something I do every single time I'm on Zoom with people, or I'm speaking at an event or anything, is I take a moment, and we can all do this right now. Take a moment, feel your feet on the ground, and just imagine yourself opening up your energy. So everyone, open up your energy, take your arms nice and wide, like you're about to give someone a hug that you haven't seen in a long time. You're like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in so long. And then just take a moment and look at everyone on screen right here and right now, and take a breath with every person that you see. Through doing that, through this practice of presence and opening yourself up fully, which may feel vulnerable and uncomfortable, is one of the fastest ways to drop into this present moment, right? So just feel your body, feel your breath, connect with someone in front of you. That brings presence, and it also dissolves overwhelm. The next thing with overwhelm is, in the 4 stages of turning your light on, what I talk about in my book and a program that I have, is there's different stages. And stage 3 of turning our light on is the bright light stage. And a lot of people end up being stuck at this stage. And what it looks like with stepping into our purpose, stepping into our work, stepping into what we're really here to do, is it looks like distracting ourselves with a lot of things that we're good at, while ignoring our higher purpose, while ignoring that one project or that one calling from the heart that's like, this is it. And as a result, we're doing these things to get quick hits of external gratification as a way to play small and not go all in with that one thing. So in that space, we need to get really clear on what is going all in on our purpose? What is that one thing? And how can we say no to everything that's not that higher purpose, which so many people here have talked about what theirs is, right? We know it, and focusing on that and going all in. So it's kind of a layered experience of what can dissolve overwhelm, the presence in this moment, feeling the body, opening yourself up energetically to who's in front of you, brings us into presence and dissolves overwhelm. And then the next thing with our purpose is like, what am I doing that isn't 100% it? And I'm doing it as a way to avoid or distract myself from taking a leap of faith, trusting in the divine and going all in. And I hope that answers your question, but there's some layers.
I love how much you're offering. Thank you. And just a reminder, I put this in the website, but for those watching on Facebook, her website is radicallyaligned.com, radicallyaligned.com. And it looks like you've got a fun quiz here. Tell us about the quiz.
Yeah, so the quiz is the Turn Your Light On quiz, and it's based off my book. It's based off the signature work of waking up to who you are, your true identity, and who you're meant to be in the world. And it talks about the 4 different stages. So you take the quiz, and through taking the quiz, you're going to find out where you're at in your space of personal evolution and the type of work that you want to focus on. You know, Crystal and Shine and I talk about this all the time, that sometimes, you know, meditation is great, or this is great, and there's all these modalities and processes, but based on the quiz, you'll know the right questions to be asking yourself. You'll know the right work that you need to be doing with yourself and what you want to focus your energy on so that you're moving forward and you're waking up to who you're meant to be. So with the quiz, it's going to tell you what stage you're at, what your symptoms are, and how to start moving forward in your evolution to heal, to transform, to step into your higher purpose in a bigger way. And then there's also complementary training that comes with whatever the result is of taking the quiz. So it's really fun.
Beautiful.
Sharing that.
I love this so much. Can you come on the self-love show and teach us to love ourselves?
Yes, please. I'm so there.
Any of you that want to come play. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I love, you know what I really, really, really appreciate is simple tools. Because sometimes, I don't know if anybody else has gone to a bunch of these things, just that it's like really complicated work. And I'm like, okay, well, that's great. But when you make it so simple, it makes it just so perfectly easy to actually integrate into your life. Mwah. So good. Thank you so much.
All right, we have not heard from, let's go back to Tad. We haven't heard from him for a little while. Hey, Tad, spotlight's on you. And what would you like to share about living life in alignment and some of the themes that we're talking about tonight?
Oh man, it's a big question, hey? Well, there's a lot less friction when we do. We could start with that. Here's one of the, so maybe I'll talk about it from a marketing angle, just so I don't try to punch above my weight class here. Niching is the thing that most people struggle with in their business. Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can grow your business, but I can give you one way to kill your business is try to be everything to everybody. And then that's the end of it. And so then what we're talking about is niching, which means a lot of different things to different people. But the way I'll define niching is it's, in a broad sense, it's your role in the community. It's the function that you want to be known for in the marketplace. And in my experience, fairly universally, people are terrified of niching, but they're relieved when they find their niche. So it's a strange thing. They're scared of the process, but they're relieved by the result. Because the fear is in niching is, I'll have to give everything up. Well, then I'll lose clients. I won't be fulfilled. Whatever the fear is. But at the end of the day, what happens is once they figure out the thing for them, what Deidra was talking so beautifully about this, well, there's a lot of things you're good at. Great, but what's your soul calling you to do? when you find that, I find that people just, and not just relieved, but then excited and inspired in a way that they've never been before. So, I mean, of course, there's a lot of questions one could ask, but maybe here's a three things that I think can help in terms of this alignment. Again, just from my marketing background, but there's a lot of ways to look at niching, but this is one model. That we all have a certain nature to us. Yeah, some of us kind of shy, some of us kind of badass, some of us edgy, some of us definitely not edgy. And that is going to define the tone of whatever you do. Some people very fierce and passionate, some people very soft and gentle, and it's good, just work it. The second thing is that we have certain gifts. There are certain things that come easy to you that don't come easy to other people. And you'll know what those are by when you see other people struggling with them, you say, what? What do you mean? It's emceeing an event. This is so easy. What? Hosting an event, hosting a gathering, like Shine and Crystal do. Certain things come very natural, but for other people, it's genuinely baffling how you do it. Speaking on stage, you just talk to these people and they're, first time I ever got my photo taken. Some people are so good at this, they get all their photos and selfies and they're just so great. But the first time I ever got headshots, the photographer halfway through just lowered the camera and said, "Tad, it's not a gun." And I was like, just take your pieces of my soul and go away. And it wasn't easy for me, but for other people it is. Anyways, we all have different gifts, And then the last thing is we all have received certain wounds in life. And in my experience, and I got this from Jeffrey Van Dyke, our deepest wounds are often a doorway into our truest niche. So you get those three and you put them together. And if you can get an alignment between those three, you can really get something. So your nature gives a sort of tone, a tenor to your work. The gifts give the shape of the work, what you're going to do. And then the wound gives the direction to the work. If people are really struggling with their niche, just consider that you might be well served to aim at becoming the adult whose support you were needing when you were a kid. Becoming the support you needed 10 years ago when you were in the midst of the struggling. Because if you look at it candidly, you may find that's who you've already become.
I think that was probably the most beautiful and centered and nourishing conversation about niching that I've ever heard in my whole life. I was like, oh, it felt like a blanket that, like one of those really nice fuzzy ones that come out of the dryer, being wrapped in that, that. Does anyone else feel that way? Oh yeah, everyone's like, oh, you're great. It's like, I know. You're not at selfies, but you and we should talk. I can help with that. It's just about angles. It's your best angle.
All right. You've got your work cut out for you, but I wish you well. May the odds be in your favor.
You're underestimating my skills. So here's this group of people that you're involved in, and you're literally like I can see how you're holding a foundational piece for, say, Nick or Deidra or Shine and Crystal and Mike, and it's like this is a really foundational piece because, right, if I can't get my word out, how does anyone know what magic I hold?
Well, and I'll take it further that this question around institutional change, it seems to me the reality is that most of the solutions that we need for the problems in the world already exist. All the work you all do, permaculture already exists, nonviolent communication is there. There's so many amazing people doing amazing work. But if nobody knows about them, or when they find out about them, can't understand what the hell it is, they functionally don't exist.
Yep.
And we need them to exist. We need them to be there. And so and here's just a thought, is for all of you who might have a business or be making the reckless decision to start one, is you might have this thought, and if you've been in business a while, you probably have this thought that you should be better at marketing yourself. And let me submit that that's insane. And the reality is we're usually terrible at marketing ourselves. Marketing ourselves is it's the hardest. This is the thing we all struggle with. This is kryptonite. You know, we came to this planet and the yellow sun of this planet has made us strong, but our kryptonite is self-promotion. I mean, there's some people who are just so good at self-promotion and they just love it, and they're called psychopaths. But for the rest of us human beings, this is very difficult to do, you know? But the yellow sun of our planet didn't just give us a weakness to kryptonite, it gave us a superpower. And what is that superpower? It's promoting other people. We're so good at that. This comes so natural to all of us. And wouldn't it be amazing if all of us had some savvy in marketing, some savvy in how to spread the word, that we could largely pour into the cups of our friends? Because we're always going to be a bit of a hopeless case ourselves. That's always going to be, we'll be less terrible at marketing ourselves, and that's about as good as we can hope it can be. But we can make it easier for the people who love us to spread the word, and we can, being outsiders on other people's projects, give them an insight they wouldn't have. And if we have some savvy on marketing too, that wouldn't be bad. And then we all help each other spread the word on the work that is so sorely needed in the world and needs to be discovered. And we can all be lifting each other up in ways that we just can't. We're not equipped to do it on our own.
Awesome. Can you tell me more about how people find you?
Marketingforhippies.com. It's all there.
Well, I'm not very good at sharing screen, I have to be honest.
Okay.
I do.
That was funny.
I think we have a new career for Tad as a stand-up comic.
Oh, he does this in his workshops.
That was the funniest
He does it all the time.
thing ever.
That was amazing.
That, in case anyone missed it, because that was hilarious, that the only people really good at marketing themselves are psychopaths. Quote from Tad of Marketing for Hippies.
So
that is just absolutely, we are like in tears over here. I wish I could have paused you because I missed everything else you said. I'm sure it was amazing.
We'll listen back.
We'll watch it back on the replay. It was absolutely just the oh my God, the hilarious.
So good.
So good.
Mark and others, I'd love to hear a little bit from Nick and Mike. Oh, yeah.
Just sharing the Marketing for Hippies.
All right.
This is Tad's thing.
There you go. It's going to also say stand-up comic on the sidebar one day.
Yeah. Anyways, it's Tad's beautiful site. Marketingforhippies.com.
Kid. In just a few minutes. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I'm terrible at sharing screen. It's like,
You tell me what to do, I'll do it.
ooh, great. Okay. I'd love to hear a little bit about how Nick is sharing his work in the world.
Yeah, I run a free live call on Tuesdays. It's called the Collective Live. So I've had a membership program that I've run for the last 3 years. And then in January, I had the impulse to run it for free every Tuesdays. So every Tuesdays, we have what's called Collective Live. That's a live stream with typically about 100 people since we launched it in January. And it's a lot of hot seat breakthroughs. My partner, Nick, she channels in the same way that Esther does. She did some channeling on the first call in January. It's a lot of inspired teachings and yeah, lots of fun.
Ooh, I love that. You said something about teaching facilitators. What do you facilitate facilitators with?
Yeah, I've got a bunch of tools that I've developed over the last decade. So my background is in tech. I spent 10 years in tech, and in the last few years is when I started really diving into spiritual development, self-help. And when I did and started applying a lot of the concepts I was learning, and that's a key thing because for a lot of people, they're collecting a lot of knowledge up here. They're reading all the books, they're watching all the videos, but they're not applying. So my focus was to get practical and start applying the concepts. I would say within about 12 to 18 months, the company was acquired for about 300 and some million. That gave me the freedom to step away from the tech world and then focus on this world full time. So my tagline's kind of been the computer hacker turned people hacker. So my approach to personal development has been very much similar to understanding how computers work. So software is written with source code, and the behavior of software is exactly what you tell it to do. And humans operate in the exact same way. The only difference is human programming isn't source code. Human programming is the emotions we carry, the thoughts we think, right?
Yes.
So in understanding how law of attraction works, here's one of the processes is called an attraction point audit. So if you understand that all of reality is a reflection of what you have going on in your attraction point, you can look at your reality and reverse engineer your reality circumstances to identify what you have going on inside of you. And most people aren't aware of what they're practicing because they've been practicing certain things for so long. It's like it becomes background noise and they're no longer aware what they got going on. So that's one example of one of the tools that I teach.
Awesome. That's very helpful. Yeah, you know, the brain is such an interesting machine, and learning how to hack the brain to get it to do what you want so that you can live a more healthy and embodied and connected and sweet and joyful and emotive, maybe not even happy, but just
Well, a lot of people don't have the awareness that your physical reality is a reflection of the vibration you're practicing. And there's no way around that. So the quality of your physical reality experience is limited by the vibration you practice. So for example, if you've got 5 business ideas that you're looking at and you're at the vibration of failure, doesn't matter which business idea you go with or how hard you work, the end result is going to be failure. And if you're at the vibration of success, doesn't matter which one you choose, the end result's going to be success. So when it comes to changing the world, the level of change that the world can experience correlates directly to the vibration of the people living on the planet.
Bing. Love it. Yes. Just because I like to redefine success, can you tell me what success means to you? Because I know what it means to me.
That's a hard question to answer. I would say my version of success is living integrated with source. Is everybody thinks, you know, there's this ascension talk in spiritual communities about ascending from 3D to 5D, and everybody's waiting to ascend to 5D and everything is going to get better. And that's not what it's about. What it's about is integrating the 5D experience or the quantum experience into the physical with us. Right?
Integration for the win. Oof.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I love that. Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, go for it.
So I've been really playing with the receiving mode and really enjoying that game of having the goal. I've heard that the goal of meditation should be to quiet your mind and just stop all thought. And when Esther started talking about, you know, you should meditate, but only 15 minutes a day because life is for living. And then she started talking about, Abraham started talking about, well, actually, meditation is a good tool to get into the receiving mode. But if you can live from that place where you're really actually tuned into source and following that guidance, kind of like animal instincts, where you're just, oh, I should go this way, I should follow this thought, I should do this thing. So I'd love to hear more about your experience with that.
Yeah, the concept I use is I call it de-intellectualization. So society has favored the mind. So, you know, we go to school, we're supposed to go to university or college. So all of our human training in society is the development of the mind. And that's great, but that's also limiting to what our minds are able to compute or achieve. And what that does is it kind of drowns out the guidance we get from source, right? And remember, source is infinitely intelligent, unconditionally loving. And when you become that integrated being where you're living one with source, it changes the way you experience entire physical reality. So the way you talked about animals there, one of the examples I use is, up here we've got Canadian geese that migrate down south in the wintertime. And they don't pull an iPhone out of their pocket to look at the calendar to know when to go south, or their GPS to know what direction to fly in.
Yeah.
They get the nudge. They just get the impulse, time to go that way.
Yeah.
And as humans, that's how we're meant to operate too, through those nudges, through the excitement. But what happens is we allow the mind to override all of that, or we allow our emotional baggage and our fears to disconnect us from that connection, which allows that flow. And if I ask you guys, how many people on the call, and you can drop a yes in the chat window, have that deep down feeling that life is supposed to be easier than this, right? And when I give talks in person, virtually everybody puts their hand up, and that's source talking to you. And the answer to the life being easier than it's supposed to be is through that connection to source.
Yeah. It's been the biggest game changer for me, because I know I lived a lot from this place of feeling like the only thing stopping me from connecting to that higher self, from being in the flow more often, was all these limiting beliefs and triggers and things. And so I thought, if I could just get rid of all of them, boom, problem solved. And I spent many years trying to fix and clear and get rid of. And what I learned is that's just kind of a never-ending spiral of doom, and it sucks. And if I instead just turn my attention to, what do I love? How can I get into alignment? And then I'll be guided through certain processes to release resistance and become more clear, but I'm not spending as much time in that dark kind of clearing, fixing energy.
Yeah, reality's always showing us what we need, right? It's always showing us, but it's about us being present enough to look at what reality is showing us and decoding what reality is showing us, so we can move along where we're meant to move along in our journey. One of my favorite terms that I've been using this year is organic unfolding, right? There's no need to effort. There's no need to strive. Get into alignment, be present and grounded in your reality, and let whatever's meant to happen come to you.
Yeah. And one of the things that Deidra was talking about with overwhelm, I certainly experienced, because as anyone who was listening to the earlier part of our big vision, it's like there's so many ways we could start. Even just one tiny niche of like massage practitioners is like a freaking huge business that's going to take all of our time and energy. So it was so important to focus on one thing and to focus on something and know what direction to go in, because there's so many different directions. And once I really got into alignment and I could hear my source, and when I was in that receiving mode, I got into that a clear enough vibration where I could actually communicate with my higher self, and the receiving mode would just ask, what do you want to talk about? And then I could ask a question and I would get a different response than my mind would make up. So I was talking to something else, and it was very, very clear and consistent, and just said, yeah, this is the thing to focus on. This is, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Don't worry. I was surprised at how many topics my source didn't want to talk about. They're like, oh yeah, no, not important. No, don't worry about it. It's too much resistance. Don't even bother. Just focus on this little thing. Like, do your best to stay happy. You'll be guided. It's all good. There's money coming. It's all good. Like, it was all just basically like, don't worry, get happy. And that's it.
Yeah.
And just trust the impulse.
But it's also important to understand that source isn't necessarily guiding us to what we want. Source is guiding us to what we need. Right. And it's up to us to be in the receptive mode of what source is guiding us to, even if it's contrast, because that contrast is what we need for our unfolding. The path isn't a physical path. The path is a vibrational path. And to walk that vibrational path, it's about going within and working through the things that impact our vibration.
Yeah.
So good.
Speaking of source guiding us to vibration, I would love to hear a little bit about the vibrations that Mike brings into the world.
Yes. Spreading the vibes worldwide. Man, I'm just resonating with so much that's being said. And Nick was just saying it all right there. And I actually just got back from a retreat for 2 days. I was working with some plant medicine and went into a journey, and I was really just, usually I go in terrified, and it's a scary kind of thing going into that setting, because you don't know what's going to happen. But this time it was very beautiful, and my intention was just to allow the medicine to take me and show me what I needed to see. And and it took me on, well, I learned so much. It's like you're in communion with this high level intelligence. And so I just went with the flow. And one of the things that I learned was, one of the things that kind of came up in that experience was about money and about work and the energy of money and being in the right flow and right relationship with it. And it kind of showed me in this weird way that if you are in the right alignment, if you are in the right intention from your inner world, and you're going forward with your work and with your way of helping people, if you're genuinely helping people, and it was showing me that the universe is about expansion and about life expanding. And if you are in alignment with providing life expanding energy through your business, through your offerings into the world, then the universe or the infinite intelligent mind will meet you halfway. So you meet it halfway, and then it will let the path unfold. It will unfold the path for you, if that makes sense. And I was just learning so much from that medicine ceremony. And yeah, and I just had these visions for what I'm doing, and yeah, sharing the vibes worldwide, and that's going to help a lot of people. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how you find your inspiration, as well at like the musical vibrational inspiration, and how you're seeing the people that you're training and teaching, like how you're seeing it impact the world right now too?
Yeah, well, I basically find partnership in existing communities, and I go in there, and my events are offered in different regions, and they attract the people that are already in a community, say with a yoga studio. And I have a method. I've developed a strategy around filling rooms with people at wellness events.
Yes.
And that's what I'm going to be teaching in my course, the Sound Healer Business Blueprint. Yeah, lots of rooms just like this. This one's in Squamish, British Columbia. And people will come and they lie down. And this was a private event I did there in Whistler last week. And yeah, so I'm just doing these all over the place, and come up with kind of a blueprint. And this is what my course is about. It's showing healers, sound healers around the world, how to fill rooms for their sound healing events and share the vibes with as many people as possible, and raise people's vibration in sound. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
That was at Shine's house.
Where do I get my invitation?
Yeah,
come on February 16th.
February 16th.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh, come on up with Scott. He's going. Yeah, Mike's going to be doing. Actually, we're going to be doing the sound first, and then cacao first, and then sound. Sound first. So he's going to be lining us up and getting us all in a super high vibe state to then do cacao, breath work, and then ecstatic dance. So that's going to be the evening of the 16th.
I'm incredibly make it. I'm doing a vacation where I'm going to really develop my relationship with my cat, because that's just how it is.
Do it. It's our intention to, once we get the marketing really down, we might need to have some more conversations with Tad. Because for us, like the hosting it is so fun. Filling up the presenters and the speakers, like we keep having to be like, sorry, we were already like, I was telling Shine, we have to leave spaces because people keep being like, I'll join. And we're like, everyone's time is getting shorter and shorter, trying to fit everyone. And it's already like an 18-hour, 17-hour day. Like it's so long. But yeah, so it's our intention to do this like monthly if we can get the marketing down. So we put the event up and it sells, and yeah, that's our plan. So the more people share and the more people come, the more we can put on.
Weekend event, or even like a 4 or 5 day event.
Exactly, right. Well, that's the thing, is it's so much work to set it all up, and we were really looking for a venue where we could do like a 3 or 4 day event, because once you get it in there, it's all set up. It doesn't matter how many days you're in. So yeah, we're open. Do a weekend workshop, do a week. We want to do like a full week festival here in Vancouver, like in the summer on the beach or something. So yeah.
And maybe start some like smaller gatherings, unite gatherings in different cities, and just go slow, but then it'll all come together.
That sounds like a total blast.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if, I know we're reaching time soon, but I really would love to hear sort of everyone's last thoughts on like kind of just what you're sitting with as we wrap up this conversation. How about we'll start with Deidra.
What am I sitting with right now? I just, it's been so nice just to be here and listen to all of the other speakers talk about what they're so passionate about. That's been a big, I don't know if it's like a takeaway, what I'm sitting with. I'm just really looking forward to connecting to everyone here and deepening our relationship and seeing how I can support you in any way. That's really beautiful. And I also like the power of the generosity of the show. Like, you guys have created a space to feature all of us and our gifts in such a generous way. And I just really want to honor you and your co-host, because this is like, who's not here right now, for putting this on, because it's just so generous, and I love sharing my gifts, and I really value people like yourself who are creating space for us. So thank you for that. And if anyone is watching and what I've shared resonates, I'd love to connect with you in another form. So yeah, thank you. And if you're in Vancouver for February 16th, come on out. I'll be doing some illumination stuff. And yeah, it's just been so great. So thank you for your generosity.
Thank you for yours and the gifts that you shared too. For real. I'm going to be reaching out.
Oh, can't wait.
And anybody else, you can just jump in popcorn style. Don't rush the screen.
No thoughts from me. I'm just busy calibrating the vibes.
Aw. That's so sweet.
Well, maybe I'll jump in. The thought that I'm left with is the situation in the world is very bad indeed. Of course, we could all give the litany of troubles that we're facing, and it strikes me that trying to solve these troubles at an intellectual level, trying to strategize our way out of it, is not only not likely to work, it's likely what got us here in the first place. And I suppose so much of my work is rooted in this understanding that there's a higher intelligence that can orchestrate us, if we're open to that. A friend of mine, Lewis Cardinal, is a Cree fellow from Alberta. He said his elders had told him that when we come into the world, as babies, their fists are like this. And the reason they come in like this is because they have something in their hands to give us. And so then the whole orientation of culture has to be about fostering those gifts so that they get given away, understanding that those gifts came into this world and that place at that time for a reason. So if I look at the situation in the world and I try to figure it out, I feel fairly hopeless about it. But if I can put my trust that there's something operating at a higher level. I remember my friend Akila Sharills, he helped negotiate the peace treaty between the Bloods and the Crips in the 90s. And he would always say, God has plans and the devil has plans, but God has the best of plans. And, all the psychopaths out there, and there are psychopaths who have their machinations and their plans, but they've got plans, and they're very good plans. It's amazing the thought they put into them. But there's another level of plan. And I think if we can just go yin, as they say, and get into alignment with that, that's at least our best chance at some kind of redemption. So that's what comes to me. And I'm sure there's more to say, but I'll leave it there.
I love that. Sounds like unity.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm really sitting with what Mike shared at the end there, and that was just so resonated for me, that piece you got in your journey, Mike, about that anyone who's here for that positive expansion, that we're getting supported. We don't have to go 100% all the way. We make the step and the universe steps with us, or the universe takes the next step. And that's such a beautiful reminder piece, and it's so 100% true. I see it all the time, but it takes that, or it's that, like, you leap and start building the plane on the way down. But it really, I want to throw in the other analogy with, like, you leap and the universe leaps and you're building it together, so you get to build it twice as quick. And I always find that is the case, but sometimes I have to be the first. It feels like I have to be the one to step first. I bet it's not. I bet the universe is stepping right with me, but sometimes I can't see it from that place, and I feel like I'm stepping on my own. And in these group collective conversations, it's so reassuring to feel like, especially like, our vision is huge and everyone has huge pieces that they want to accomplish and want to see birthed into the world. And sometimes it can feel like, wow, that's a lot for one lifetime. And then I'm like, oh, but Trisha's doing her piece, which actually can overlap, and Nick's doing his piece, and Mike's got his piece, and Tad has his piece, and Bea has her piece, and everyone on the call has pieces. And actually, I don't need to be 100% in I do 100% in mine, and everyone else is contributing. And where the overlap happens is where the magic happens anyway. And I wouldn't want to do it all on my own, but it just feels so reassuring when I'm like, oh, I don't have to figure out everything. I don't have to do everything. I do me, and everyone else is just rocking it too. So I feel like it's just always inspiring to come together and to just really see the magic that's happening with the slightly different lenses, the slightly different, if we're all one diamond together, everyone's a different cut that makes a different facet. And it's beautiful. And like Dee said, thank you so much, Trisha, and to Scott, who has, not here to receive our thanks, but I know he'll get them, for hosting, because I do know as a host as well, that it's a big step to hold space and to hold the container and to create it and to follow up and to do the tech and to do the promo and to do all those pieces. So thank you for holding space for us to get to show up today.
The thing is, like, we all know that it's not just our vision. To be honest, he would be like, what are you doing telling them the story? We were trying to find a different idea of a name because I wasn't happy with the name that we had before. It was called Straight Talk. And I was like, I don't like straight talk. I'm A, not straight, and B, like, it's so,
yeah.
Scott. Yeah. Like, well, we've got to just, and so we were coming up with ideas of what to call it. And one of my partners at the time was like, oh, what about, something about the awakening world? And I was like, well, because it really is about the revolutionary leaders. It is about creating a place where all of us can grow. When I grow, you grow. When you grow, I grow. And when we grow, we all grow. It's like, I can't evolve if other people aren't with me. It's about holding hands and building community for us. And that's why it's like, hey, if I have a platform, who do I get to, yes, exactly. Who do I get to, like, boost up in the world? And how can our love boost everybody else up? Like, that's just what it's about. The awakening world is about weaving it all together, supporting the voices that are really raising the voices of people who aren't heard. Yeah. So I've got you. I've got all of you, and I'm not walking behind you because I could be like 300 miles away, but I'm walking right next to you, and I've got my hand on your back, and we're here together. I know we're in it together. I'll call you. Don't worry. I'm reaching out to all of you. We're on. You got my email addresses and all of those things, so I'm so grateful for you all.
Feels like the first Zoom meeting of the Avengers.
I was like, how can we figure out how to just like touch just like touch each other's fingers off the whole screens? I haven't quite figured that out. We've been here for. How about you, Amashar? I want to thank you for doing so much back end and love.
I tell you, my finger's been does the walking. What a phenomenal show! It's so refreshing, and for some reason there's something about Canada. It's like all of the fresh, new, totally pure, innocent ideas kind of trickle down. And I have a lot of friends in Canada, and there's this freshness. I used to live in New Zealand, and I had a similar feeling there that people were genuine. They were genuine and genuinely helping each other, and genuinely connecting with the source. And so I'm so grateful for this, because I just see that there's so many of us out there. Now I know we're kind of at the end of the show here, and I have to channel Scott for a minute, and so I'm going to just promote the Saturday and Sunday, play a little closing song, and then we'll all just go ciao bella. So if that works for everybody, I'm going to do that, and we're going to do this. Oh, what's happening here? Oh, can you see that?
Yes.
It's not quite. Anyway, whatever. On Saturday night, 28th, we are collaborating with an old friend, Alan Steinfeld, the author of Making Contact and founder of New Realities. Alan always has the latest information on what's happening in the fields of UFO, UAP, not too sure what that one is, and Galactic Family News. Will co-host along with Neil Gower, who is the founder of the Portals of Ascension, and Sheila Seppi, founder of the Conscious Awakening Network. And no, I'm not reading this. It's all on my head. We have an all-star lineup of presenters on the 28th, which includes Vivienne Chauvet, who was a big hit on a recent episode of The Awakening World. And we also meet new friends in the field, including Hope Fitzgerald, Victoria Reynolds, and Phil Gruber. And also Tatiana Speed is coming back. And so she is one of our most famous Canadian fabulous musical artists. We love her so much. I think she's just been down in Mexico. And of course, yours truly. And then on the Sacred Sunday show, we have, come on, where are you? This one, yes. We have Honoring Earth Angels and Warrior Angels. The show is still being put together with Chief Phil Lane Jr., one of our favorite luminaries. We recognize that many of our audience members are already indeed angelic souls choosing to be in human form during this time of great transformation. So we will also acknowledge the challenges of being a warrior as we strive to create peace in the world. I just got a ping from Scott saying thanks for promoing, and he says I love you all and thank you so much for being on the show. And here we are back again. Ooh, how am I doing? Awesomely, I knew that. So I'm gonna play us a quick little song. It's a huge epic song, and it's not Bohemian Rhapsody. It's called "What More Can I Be Than What I Am." What more can I be than what I am? I'm gonna slow down because when I'm in the public spotlight, I tend to get a little nervous. My heart goes boom diddy boom, and I leave my body. So grounding is a very good thing. So let's move and groove. And Trish, you can spotlight people who are.
Okay.
It's a slow groove. love you, Scott. Hey. What more can I be than what I am? Though it's taken some time to clear these clouds from my eyes. So open your heart and dance along. I'm thinking it's time to stop that same old song. I've come alive, so hear me now. I am in love with the world around me, and I will hold her in my arms and lift her with my dreaming. La da da da, and lift her with my dreaming. La da da da, and lift her with my dreaming. La da da da. So don't try to hold me to what I was. I've traveled through time to see this day arise. The love that I am is here for you. So open the door and let the sun shine in. I've come alive, so hear me now. I am in love with the world around me, and I will hold her in my arms and lift her with my dreaming. La da da da, and lift her with my dreaming. La da da da, and lift her with my dreaming. La da da da, la da 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 da, ba da 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 da, ba da da ba da da. So open the door and let the sun shine in. I've come alive, so hear me now. I am in love with the world around me, and I will hold her in my arms and lift her with my dreaming. La, 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 la. I lift her with my dreaming. And lift her with my dreaming. La, 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 la. What more can I be than what I am?
Yay.
Amazing.
Thank you. Hey, isn't it funny? It's like when Scott left the building, suddenly the energy didn't shift, but it was kind of like part of me went, oh, now I've got to be responsible. I wasn't responsible before. And it's like, what does that mean? Anyway, thank you, Trish. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tad and Mike and Shine and Crystal and Nick and Deidra. Wow, we are awesome. And we look forward very much to seeing you on the next Unite broadcast, as well as this Saturday, 6 o'clock Pacific time, The Awakening World, and 10 a.m. on the Sacred Sunday. So, Trish, any last words?
Yes. Thank you all on the panel and everyone who just showed up tonight. Thank you so much for being here for yourselves, for us, and to really support this message in the world. Good night, you all. I love you.
Love you.
Thank you.
Night.
We also have the Unite show most Thursdays at 6:15 Pacific. So we're doing something similar. Yeah.
Lovely. And how do we tune into that? Just through unite.love?
Go to unite.love, go to the events, you'll see it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Namaste, everybody.
So much love, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank
So
you,
beautiful.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.